Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Playdates and Travels, and if my background's looking awfully weird to you, it's because I took down my pin board. It's actually, it's below the frames. You can't see it, but it's at my feet. I'm actually getting ready to film that collection, as well as my Mulan collection and my new Cinderella board collection that I want to share with you. Or Cinderella Castle board, I should say. So I have 3 different pin display videos coming up on my channel very soon, so I will be sharing that. But today's video, I am sharing a tag. This is a Disney question tag that I was tagged by my friend Christy at Christy's Corner to do. I think somebody else might have tagged me to do this. I apologize if you did. I felt like there were 2 people, but I only wrote down Christy's name, and then I was like having a case of just like, that doesn't seem quite right. So I'm so sorry if you were the other person that did tag me on this one, if it was a different tag that I'm completely forgetting about. The days are blending in together, guys. But this is the Disney quarantine tag. Yay! So this is the tag that was created by Mombierella, and I had seen a couple people do this tag, and then I saw Christy tag me, and I was like, okay, I have to do this one now. So this is one that I was considering doing anyway, and I appreciate the tag, so thank you, Christy. If you guys haven't seen her video, I will link it down below in the description as well. And yeah, so I've seen a couple of my friends do this now, so I'm not sure who still hasn't been tagged at this point, but I will tag a couple people just up front. I'm going to tag Magic Wishing Star. Magic Wishing Star, you, I don't believe, have done this tag yet on your channel, at least. So if you haven't already done this or been tagged, I am tagging you. And I'm also going to tag, I'll tag Finding Disney. Because I don't think she's done this tag either. So those are my 2 people, and without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. So if you guys like watching questions being answered and getting to know a little bit more about me, then keep on watching. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. This is a very interesting video for me to film because I've been in quarantine for 7 weeks now. This is week 7 for me as I'm filming this, and I'm definitely feeling like that a little bit. Like I feel a lot of feelings, emotions bottling up inside me. What has been nice to relax with is just watching some of my old vlogs. So maybe that's my question that's become later down the line. But I'm gonna go question by question. And so yeah, I feel a little cooped up. So this is a perfect tag to be filming at this point. I mean, even my skin's starting to break out. I'm just like, this is one of those weeks. At any rate, okay, so here we go. Question 1. How many times have you watched your favorite movie during quarantine? I don't think I have watched my favorite movie during quarantine. I was trying to think about it. I don't know if this is a Disney movie or just favorite movie in general. My favorite movie is The Sound of Music, which I have not watched during quarantine. I watched it before, a couple months back, but have not watched that at all. And then my favorite Disney movie, I would say, was probably The Little Mermaid. If you guys, shocker, if you guys didn't already know that about me. And I don't think we've seen that either during quarantine. We've watched a lot of Disney movies. We watch a lot of movies in general, but we have not watched our favorites. My daughter has watched her favorite movie. However, her favorite right now is Toy Story 4 and Frozen Forever. So both Frozen and Frozen 2 she's watched like a zillion times, as well as Toy Story 4. So thank you, Disney Plus. We have watched my daughter's favorites, but not mine. Also, because Christy mentioned these, she mentioned Dirty Dancing and A League of Their Own being 2 of her favorite Disney or favorite movies in general, and those are 2 of my favorite movies also. I am also a huge A League of Their Own person, and I love Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing was my favorite movie growing up. In middle school and high school age, I would say. It's still one of my favorites, but I think The Sound of Music trumps it just because it's just it's a classic film that you never get tired of, and it doesn't matter what time of day, I would always put that on. But I always put on Dirty Dancing too, so who knows? Anyway, whatever. I would choose Walt Disney World. I'm rewatching those vlogs right now of my January trip, which I'm going to have on my channel very soon, hopefully, in May. And I just had so much fun. You can see, if you guys watch that, like, you should watch it because I am beaming from ear to ear. The very first, like, 16 minutes, I don't think a smile leaves my face. Even when I'm, like, running late for things or things don't go my way and unexpected things happen during that trip. A lot of unexpected things happen. There's a lot of back and forth. I was still smiling and having a great time. I love Walt Disney World. It is one place where I feel completely at ease no matter what's happening. It is my happy place. It always has been. And I would definitely go on vacation in Walt Disney World right now if I could. I mean, literally right now, even with the virus and everything, I would just be like, I can go tomorrow? Sure. I'll just deal with it somehow, some way. I now have a couple of masks, so we'll just bring that with me. I don't know. I'm curious to know how it's going to work when they reopen the parks. But that would be my choice for that question. And my answer to that is not technically. I did not have a official trip planned, only because I'm an annual pass holder to Disneyland, and I was able to go on a weekly basis if I really wanted to. And I did have plans to go to see the Food and Wine Festival in California Adventure. I actually had never gotten a chance to go. It had just opened right before the closures happened, and I meant to make a trip to that, but the day that I went, I didn't go to California Adventure. I went to Disneyland, and then after that, this whole thing became a huge phenomenon where it was affecting park life, and then I actually felt nervous going to the parks, and I did go one more time in between that period, and I went to pick up a merchandise item for a friend, and that's it. I was literally in the park for about an hour tops, and that's including going to the downtown part and then going inside the actual park for about a half an hour. So I didn't have a chance to really experience the park and do the Food and Wine Festival, but that would have been what I would have been doing during this break time between the end of March and beginning of April. I would have gone to that, and it was supposed to be ending in May, I think mid-May or so. So by the time the parks do open, I believe the Food and Wine Festival will probably be a non-thing anymore. It'll probably be over, and I will have missed it completely, and I'm kind of bummed about that because I didn't go last year because I was not an annual pass holder last year, and the last time I went was when they first brought it back, and it was just okay. So I was looking forward to seeing if it had changed, and also to compare it to more recent festivals that I had gotten a chance to go to in both Walt Disney World and Disneyland. So a little bummed about that, but that's the only thing that I had to cancel that I had on the horizon. So that sucked. If I could ride any Disney ride right now, I would choose to go on Tower of Terror. I have again been rewatching the vlog footage. I just posted on my channel actually the last day of my trip that I took in 2018. I know that's a long time ago now, it's 2 years ago, but the footage never goes away in terms of like its relevance, because those are the feelings that you feel when you go to the parks, and it doesn't matter when you go, a lot of the stuff doesn't change, and Tower of Terror is a classic. So in my 2018 footage, it was when Slinky Dog Ride and Toy Story Land in general had just opened, so that was the brand new thing. And when you guys eventually see my footage for my January trip, it's going to be that Galaxy's Edge just opened in Disney World, and in both times, I was very excited to go on Tower of Terror. So if I could go on any ride, that's my favorite Disney ride in any Disney park, I would definitely be going on Tower of Terror. It freaks me out, and I get nervous every time I go on it. It never goes away, that feeling of trepidation, but I love it. It's like my favorite, so I would definitely go on that in a heartbeat. If I could eat at any Disney restaurant right now, I would choose Le Cellier. It's like the best. I love the steak there. They have the best pretzel bread. They have amazing, amazing soup. The cheddar cheese soup they have at the Food and Wine Festival in Florida is phenomenal, but it's even better to have the fresh thing from the restaurant. And I also really like their filet mignon dish that they have there. Their ribeye there is actually really, really good, as is the prime rib. I had that in my New Year's trip a couple years back, and that was phenomenal. Basically, I'm a big steak person, and I love Le Cellier, so even though it's a little expensive, it's definitely a worth it type of trip. It's funny, I like the food there, but 4 out of the 5 times we've gone, I think it's been many times we've been there, but 1 out of all the times we've been there, we had a good service, like a good friendly waiter. The other times have been kind of like so-so. So our service there isn't always so great. That's not true. Our servers have been good. It's more the front of the house experience. When you first go into Le Cellier, the staff at the door can sometimes be a little snippy or not responsive, or they have a long wait and they're not really acknowledging that you have a reservation, whatever the case might be. So our experiences with Le Cellier is always like, just get through the first part of this, just get us seated, and then we're good. So, I mean, that's kind of, my husband got me into steak when we first started dating, so I've just become a steak person through him, and he loves that place, so I would definitely eat there right now in a heartbeat. I'm also missing like the fish and chips, like the quick service fish and chips from the English Yorkshire fish shop. That Yorkshire fish shop probably. Right in the beginning of, right in World Showcase at Epcot. I also love them as well. So both my choices are Epcot, obviously, my favorite park. First thought, Rice Krispie. I actually had a Rice Krispie treat from the park, and because I was holding on to just wanting to taste something from the parks, I had it recently, and now I wish I had another one. It was just that good. There's nothing like a Rice Krispie treat. However, fresh snack, I'm really craving a cake pop right now. I'm like, I would love to get a cake pop from a Disney park and just be able to just take a bite. Just take a bite of that. Yeah. I've actually been making a lot of my favorite snacks at home, and that'll be another vlog that's going to be coming up soon, is just baking the Disney goods, because that's how much I miss the parks and the eating there. I don't have any Disney scents, I don't think. I have, unless you count the Mickey soap dispenser from Tokyo, the one that makes the face of Mickey when you put it in your palm of your hand. I actually still have the soap that came from Tokyo Disney, so the scent of that soap tastes, I never tasted it. It smells very much like Disney, or the Disney official soap, if that makes sense. I mean, maybe it's just my imagination. I'm like, it smells like Disney. I'm pretty sensitive on smells in general. Like, I have a very strong sense of smell. And I have never like tried to bring in candles in my house and whatnot. I do have some Disney candles, but it doesn't really make me that excited. I know a lot of people go crazy about the Wishes candles and whatnot. I've lit them up a couple times, and they're great. They're okay. It's just not a huge, like, I don't know, source of happiness for me. Like, there's some things I look at and I'm like, oh, this brings back the nostalgia of the parks, or this brings back the nostalgia of certain characters I love that are Disney related, but the scents, I don't really think about those. Whenever I watch other people talking about like the smell of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, or Haunted Mansion, or like the wafting smell of the bakeries and whatnot, like I can get behind that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that does have a really potent smell, and I can imagine it, but for some reason I just don't seek it out in my personal life. Definitely. Have you streamed Onward yet? We streamed that, I think, the first day it became available. My kids were so excited to see the new movie. I was sad that we didn't get to see that before, when it was in theaters, just released before all this crazy stuff happened. But I am very happy that we got to see the movie. It actually is really, really cute. Some parts of it don't seem like they are very Disney Pixar-ish. They're a little adultish, and I'm so tired of all the storylines with the, you know, the lost parent, and we're just like, what happened to the dad? That's like a main focus of the movie. I mean, I know that happens in a lot of families, but I feel like that's like the story line for every Disney film that comes out lately. It's just like they are missing a parent, or both parents, or something happened with the parent. Like, let's keep the parents intact. Speaking as a mom of my 2 small children, I want the parents to be intact. Okay, Disney, let's try it for the next movie. Please, please, thank you. Please and thank you. I actually wrote the answer to this one down because there's been a lot. I feel like that's the majority of the things that I have watched on Disney Plus since it's become available. I'm very much into classic Disney films in general, and I like a lot of oldies. I just grew up watching like The Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights, so it's 7 o'clock with your family, and I watched a lot of oldies that way. So even though I'm like a young person, and it's sometimes people are even surprised I even know about these movies, I grew up watching them. So let me tell you some of the classics that I have enjoyed watching during quarantine session. Definitely, The Imagineering Story is not a classic, but because it touches upon a lot of like classic elements of, like, you know, the age of Michael Eisner when he was in charge of Disney, and what they did when Walt Disney was in charge. That is an amazing series. If you haven't watched that on Disney Plus yet, I definitely recommend The Imagineering Story. We binge watched that entire series. It was a very fun series that my husband even got into. He's not really into watching Disney stuff in general, but because it was like a behind the scenes look at the parks and stuff, we both got really into it. And if you like to know the history of the parks, and you've ever considered doing a tour in the past of the Disney parks, I think that series is definitely for you. I like the honest look at a lot of things. They actually mention when they've made mistakes in the past and how they tried to rectify that. So definitely a recommendation from me. I love The Imagineering Story. That talks about classic Disney and then what it's become in modern day. Of course, they stop it when they just open Shanghai Disney, because that's their biggest, newest project, and hopefully that series will be able to continue for series 2 or something when the parks reopen. They'll have something else to talk about. But at any rate, so I really enjoyed watching that more recently. One of the first things I saw on Disney Plus when we first got it was The Rocketeer. Definitely loved that movie from the 90s. It stars a young Jennifer Connelly. The soundtrack is just like in my head. I love it. We recently watched another movie that I hadn't seen since I was a really small kid with a very young Sarah Jessica Parker. I was like, oh my god, how old is she in this movie? And that movie was called Flight of the Navigator. I loved that movie when I was little, and the music of that was actually very 80s, I want to say. It kind of seemed like an 80s type of vibe, and I was getting into that. So definitely enjoyed that. I just noticed the ears in my wall are crooked. Haha, whoopsie. But I really enjoyed that. Okay, that's just gonna keep on bothering me how to fix it. But I really enjoyed seeing that. Really enjoyed seeing The Rocketeer. We also we haven't seen The Boy Who Could Fly, and I do not know if that's on Disney Plus, but that's another one of my childhood that just popped up in my head. I own Perfect Harmony. That wasn't on Disney Plus, by the way, but I just watched that recently on DVD. What else have I watched? Oh, Xenon. Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. I watched movies 1 and 2. Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous to go back to the Blast from the Past. That was like, Blast from the Past. That was like one of the first Disney Channel movies I remember really getting behind. And zoom, 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 make my heart go boom, boom, my supernova girl. Cheesy music, love it, love it. Cetus Lapidus. What else have I watched recently? Oh, the whole Descendant series. I don't know if that's considered classic or not, but I didn't ever watch it before I had Disney Plus, and because I now had access to it, I now had a little bit more time to just sit around the couch and just watch some more movies and whatnot. I watched Descendants 1, 2, and 3. I did. I finally did. It's like a mix of High School Musical and a little bit of Glee all together. And it's like the new version of High School Musical. Very cheesy at some point, but it has the same director from High School Musical, Kenny Ortega. Actually, Kenny Ortega is also the director of Dirty Dancing. There's this whole parallel right there. That's why I like those movies. I'm into Kenny Ortega's stuff, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching it, and I could get behind the music at least. There's some catchy tunes. So it's kind of funny because Heather from Disney Housewives recently revealed in one of her videos that she was not a Descendants person. And Heather, I was cracking up when you said that, because I think I am a Descendants person. I actually really liked it. My daughter and I watched a couple of the songs replay. We rewound and watched it again. And my son was even like YouTubing one of the songs. Oh my gosh, from the newest movie. He couldn't stop watching that for weeks on end. Thank God we got past that. We also watched Bedknobs and Broomsticks recently, and Escape to Witch Mountain, and Toy Story I already mentioned, and oh, The Ugly Dachshund. Watched that on Disney Plus, and I hadn't seen that since I was a kid. I hadn't seen that, and that's a very old classic. But as you can see, I have had some oldies on my list, but enjoying every single one of them. I don't know why, but my first thought was Mushu. I just think he's funny. I know that he screws things up a lot, but he would create some interesting banter and conversation in this house, and I would be able to have like a little person to confide in that would sit on my shoulder or something. And I just feel like sometimes you just need a friend, and Mushu, as you know, for all the mistakes he makes in Mulan and whatnot, he is a good friend, or he tries to be to Mulan. So I think that would be a great person to be quarantined with. See, I didn't say Rapunzel, which is the answer I feel a lot of people are saying. That's hilarious. The next question is, would you be watching Mulan if it was in theaters right now? Yeah. I mentioned that when this whole thing started, that I was bummed that the movie was postponed. I am excited that they finally gave it a new date. I forget when it is, but I feel like it's coming out in sometime later this year. I'm blanking. I did see the announcement and I was like, yay, they have a new date for it finally, because for a time they did not have an official date announced. But I am very much looking forward to seeing the new Mulan movie, because I'm a Mulan person and I'm interested to see what they do with it. I'm a little scared, but I do want to see it, and it looks like it's, from the previews at least, that they try to be very honorable and respectful to the original story while creating its own path. So I'm looking forward to that, definitely. Have I pulled a Mulan and cut my own hair? No, I have not. I have not cut my hair this entire time. However, I keep thinking I need to. That's why my hair actually is up in a bun. It is starting to get like, you know, when your hair just gets to that point that you're like, I need a stylist. And I told my husband the other day that I actually was very sad that our next door neighbor used to be a hairstylist, and he had some big prominent celebrity clients and whatnot, so he was a good hairstylist, I'm assuming, because he had such good clients. He no longer lives near us though, unfortunately, so he passed away before this even happened. But I was telling my husband that I was like, we could have really used him around right now, because I would just go wear a mask and be like, can you please cut my hair? I have not gotten to that point where I've done it myself, but I did watch my sister's boyfriend cut his own hair. on a Zoom session. He invited a couple of friends and we watched that because we had nothing better to do. That's quarantine life for you right now. Yes, it's very much entertainment. He actually has like over 250,000 views on a video that he posted 2 years ago where he cut his beard off that he had been growing for 6 years, and it was like down here. And my sister sent me the link and I looked at it and I was like, holy crap. I was like, how do you have 250,000 views? People must really like enjoying watching people cut their beards off or cut their hair off. My goodness, I'm in the wrong field apparently. Sorry guys, as I was editing this, I realized I missed 3 questions, and it's late at night, and I don't feel like getting all dolled up again. I'm just gonna film it. The question I missed was, are you feeling creative, crafts, and projects? I actually am feeling creative. I do have a creative bug, but because I am kind of responsible for taking care of my daughter's like school schedule on a regular basis, like I just have to be doing the school teacher mode and helping her get through her digital learning. That takes up a lot of my extra time that I would normally have, and then I have to run a household, and then there's a lot of dishes and cooking and all kinds of stuff that's just not that fun right now. So even though I have the craft bug and the itch to do a lot of things in my mind, I really haven't had a chance to get into that many crafts, other than the craft exchange that I did early on in quarantine, and that's about it so far. I do have the plans to make a number of ears, and I hope that I get to that soon, but time will tell when I get around to doing that. I think I would pick Flounder just because he's ultra loyal, always by your side. I don't know why. I could definitely use some swimming time right now and have him by my side, so I'll just pick Flounder. Sure. And then the last question that I skipped is, what are you binge watching? What movies and TV shows? We just finished watching Little Fires Everywhere. If you haven't seen that, I definitely recommend it because it's actually a really interesting show. It's Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington. They were both like phenomenal in their roles, and it was just a fun show. Yes, it had a couple of like drag down moments toward, you know, the latter end, I should say, but that's been a fun one. We just finished watching Homeland. The whole series is now done, and it has gone out on a weird ending, but we were definitely binge watching that. We just started Westworld, a lot of cable shows. My husband and I watch. That's kind of been binge watching. None of that's Disney, however. If the question was meant to be Disney related, that's kind of what I've been watching, other than the movies that I mentioned at the beginning of this tag. And the only thing Disney related really has been, hi to my son, was the Imagineering story. That was what we binge watched from Disney. Would probably be Rapunzel because she was in quarantine for 18 years. She learned to pick up, you know, a paint palette, and she became an artist. She read so many books. She was very creative. She was in the house like doing games by herself all the time. She's very much a homebody. She kind of reminds me of my daughter a little bit. My daughter has actually been enjoying this time at home. She's told me that multiple times. She's like, I'm actually enjoying this, Mom. And I was like, no, I don't know what's wrong with you. But yeah, I guess Rapunzel, most likely. I think if we were to call this whole pandemic the work of a Disney villain, probably Maleficent, because Maleficent was very much into wreaking havoc, and you know, she would just like cast a spell and there'd be vines that would pop up, and I'm thinking of, you know, from the live action, of course, but I feel like she had a lot of power to create this illusion and separation from real society. That's what she did with her whole home area, her home turf, the mystic land that she came from. So if we were to compare this to like which villain could have done this, I could definitely have seen this was actually the work of Maleficent, to see what humans would do to each other once they were really put to the test. So Maleficent, dear goodness, please stop. What are you reading? I've read a lot of books that maybe I shouldn't probably share. I don't know if everyone shares my love of Holocaust fiction, but I'm actually reading a book right now. I can just share it. I'll come back and bring it because the book's in the other room. But I've been reading a lot of Holocaust books. I just finished one my friend recommended to me, Shasta Hay, and now another one that I got from Young Adult Fiction back when my daughter had a book fair, so that's what I'm up to. The book that I just started is actually called Resistance, and it's by Jennifer Nielsen, and this was a New York Times best-selling author. And this is just about a Jewish teenager living in Nazi-occupied Poland. Simply being Jewish places her in the ever-present danger of being killed or sent to the camps. After her little sister is taken away to a death camp and her younger brother disappears, her parents all but give up hope. But Kaya is determined to make a difference. So she's like going into different camps at her own danger and trying to get information, and also smuggling in food and documents and even people. So it's all about that a little bit, and the Jewish resistance and whatnot. I don't know why I find these topics so compelling, but I actually find bits of this relatable to our experience right now. So for whatever reason, I've gotten again into Holocaust fiction. It's something that definitely helped to pass the time, because I do like reading fictionalized stories about that. I just don't know. I've always been a fan of those since I was little girl. I used to read Daniel's story, and I've read Anne Frank's diary and a million different other stories that I could probably list off, but that's what I'm reading. That's me, I guess. When I have time. It takes a while to read books now that I have children, for sure. When will my life begin? I'm very much in that. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm sure there's probably a lot of other songs. Let me think real quick. Rapunzel's perfect. 7 a.m. Another Rapunzel song. Okay, so yeah, I'm bringing out Tangled, the soundtrack, and probably all the songs will be a very, very perfect fit. Ooh, I thought of another one. I will go the distance. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. That song just came to my mind as well. I definitely feel like that could also be the case, because I would like to go the distance, but I can't right now. Do the next right thing. But those are my answers to these questions. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to me rant on with the quarantine tag. I tagged my people at the very beginning of this video, something different than I usually do, so I hope that you guys do go ahead and do this. And for everyone else, if you haven't had a chance to do this yet, feel free to do it and let me know, and just give me the link, or just tell me I just did this video, and I'll go try and watch it later as well. And I have a couple other tags to film, so I hope you guys are all taking care, and I will talk to you guys soon in the next one. Alright, bye!